Vito Genovese, a name that struck fear into the hearts of many and commanded respect from all who knew it. A name that, even today, evokes images of a bygone era where power was seized through violence and respect was earned through fear. A name synonymous with the American underworld. Vito Genovese, the unseen kingpin, the shadowy puppet master, the unassailable don of the Genovese crime family. His reputation was larger than life. He was known for his ruthless cunning, his indomitable will, and his unwavering determination to rise to the top. No one dared cross him, and those who did rarely lived to tell the tale. Genovese was born in the small town of Risigliano, in the Tufino commune of Naples, Italy, a picturesque place of narrow, winding streets and sun-drenched piazzas. But beneath this charming exterior, life was tough. Poverty was rampant, and opportunities were few and far between. Vito was one of 4 children, born into a family of modest means. His father, Felice, was a tailor, and his mother, Nunziata, a homemaker. They were honest, hard-working people, but they struggled to make ends meet. It was a harsh introduction to the world, but it was this very hardship that would shape Vito into the man he would become. Vito Genovese wasn't born into power or privilege. He was born into poverty and hardship. But he refused to let his circumstances define him. Instead, he chose to define his own destiny. Through a combination of cunning, ruthlessness, and sheer determination, he clawed his way up from the bottom, leaving a trail of blood and betrayal in his wake. A man born into meager circumstances, Genovese would soon rise to become one of the most powerful figures in the underworld. His story is a testament to the power of ambition and the dark allure of the criminal world. It's a story of power, violence, and betrayal. But above all, it's the story of a man who, for better or worse, refused to be anything less than extraordinary. A young Genovese found his calling not in the innocent games of childhood, but in the dark alleys of the criminal underworld. Picture a young boy of just 12, Vito Genovese, trading in his schoolbooks for a life of crime on the streets of Manhattan's Lower East Side. This was not a decision born out of necessity, but rather an innate drive towards power and control. In these early years, Genovese aligned himself with local gangs, honing his skills in the art of thievery, extortion, and intimidation. His reputation for ruthless ambition and cunning began to spread like wildfire, catching the attention of the Italian-American Mafia. It was during these formative years that Genovese crossed paths with a man who would become a significant figure in his life. Lucky Luciano. The 2 young men formed a fast and formidable partnership. Luciano, with his strategic mind, and Genovese, with his fierce determination, proved to be a potent combination. Under Luciano's mentorship, Genovese's criminal career began to take flight. He quickly climbed the ranks, earning a reputation as a reliable and ruthless enforcer. His ruthless ambition was admired by some, feared by many, but respected by all. This period of Genovese's life was marked by a series of audacious moves that would lay the groundwork for his future empire. He was no longer a petty thief or a small-time gangster. He was now a key player in the Mafia, a force to be reckoned with. However, this rapid rise was not without its challenges. Genovese faced numerous trials and tribulations, each one a test of his mettle. But with each hurdle, he only grew stronger. His resilience, tenacity, and unwavering ambition propelled him forward, cementing his place in the annals of organized crime. These early years shaped the man Genovese would become, laying the foundation for a criminal empire. From the rough streets of Manhattan to the upper echelons of the Mafia, Vito Genovese's early days in crime were a testament to his indomitable spirit and unyielding drive for power. The 1930s saw Genovese ascend the ladder of organized crime, his ruthless ambition leaving a trail of blood and betrayal. In the underworld, power and respect are earned through a mix of cunning, ruthlessness, and sheer audacity, traits Vito Genovese had in spades. His quest for dominance in the Mafia was relentless, his methods merciless. Genovese's rise in the Mafia ranks was marked by his involvement in the brutal Castellamarese War, a bloody power struggle between New York's Italian-American Mafia families. This was a time of chaos and violence, where alliances were made and broken, where every day was a test of survival. Genovese's cunning and ruthlessness saw him rise above the turmoil, coming out stronger and more powerful. As the war raged, Genovese aligned himself with the likes of Charles Lucky Luciano and Frank Costello, forming a formidable alliance that would shape the future of the Mafia. Genovese's strategic mind and iron will played a significant role in the success of the alliance, and he was instrumental in the formation of the National Crime Syndicate, a confederation of crime families across the country. This syndicate was more than just a gathering of criminal minds. It was a well-oiled machine, built on a foundation of fear and respect. It was a testament to the power and reach of organized crime, and at its helm was Genovese, pulling the strings, consolidating his power. His involvement in the syndicate marked a turning point in his criminal career. No longer was he just another mobster, he was a kingpin, a puppet master orchestrating a symphony of crime that echoed through the streets of New York and beyond. His thirst for power was insatiable, his ambition boundless. He had climbed the ladder of organized crime, leaving a trail of blood, betrayal, and bodies in his wake. Yet despite the violence and chaos, there was an eerie sense of order and structure to his operations, a testament to his strategic mind and ruthless ambition. Genovese was fast becoming a force to be reckoned with, his name synonymous with power and brutality. In a world where loyalty was everything, Genovese proved that for him, power was the only loyalty that mattered. As the 1940s dawned, Vito Genovese orchestrated a hostile takeover of what was then known as the Luciano family. His ambition was unquenchable, his strategies ruthless. The Mafia, as we know it, was about to witness a reign of terror like never before. Genovese's ascent to power wasn't gentle or subtle. It was a brutal, calculated move, an open declaration of war against anyone who dared to stand in his way. With cunning and precision, he ordered a series of high-profile murders, eliminating obstacles one by one. Each execution was a message to his rivals, a chilling reminder of his power and his willingness to use it. Gangsters like Willie Moretti and Albert Anastasia fell victim to Genovese's deadly game of chess. Their deaths sent shockwaves through the underworld, silencing those who had once dared to oppose him. For Genovese, these were not mere killings. Each was a strategic move designed to strengthen his grip on the Mafia. Genovese's reputation grew darker with each passing day. He was a man who knew no fear, who commanded respect through intimidation. He was relentless and unforgiving, a predator in a world of prey. His name became synonymous with fear, his reign characterized by violence and terror. His power was absolute and unchallenged. He controlled everything within his reach, from the underworld's illicit activities to the lives of those who served him. He was a king in his own right, ruling over an empire built on fear and bloodshed. And for a time, it seemed that nothing could stop him. He had achieved what he had always desired, the absolute control over a world that he had made his own through sheer determination and ruthless ambition. Genovese was now the king of his empire, feared by many, challenged by none. But every reign has its end, and for Genovese, the law was closing in. Genovese's underworld empire was built on fear, but the fear he instilled in others wouldn't be enough to keep him out of the grasp of law enforcement. As the 1950s rolled on, the net began to tighten. His name had become synonymous with organized crime, and his visibility was his downfall. He was too big, too notorious to ignore. The authorities had him in their sights, and they were relentless in their pursuit. The dogged determination of law enforcement agencies, the FBI in particular, led to a breakthrough in the late 50s. Genovese was arrested and charged with a litany of crimes, including conspiracy to violate narcotics laws. The charges were serious, and they stuck. Genovese, the once untouchable kingpin, was brought to trial. The courtroom was a far cry from the backrooms of his empire, and Genovese found himself out of his element. The evidence mounted, the testimonies were damning, and Genovese, for all his power and influence, could not escape the verdict. He was found guilty and sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. Prison was a harsh reality check for the once mighty mobster. His power greatly diminished. He could only watch as his empire crumbled from behind bars. He was no longer the feared kingpin, but a fallen titan. His days of ruling the underworld were over. In prison, Genovese would live out the rest of his days. His health declined, and he died in 1969, still incarcerated, a far cry from his days of power and influence. The man who once seemed invincible had been toppled, his empire dismantled, his reign ended. In the end, even the mighty Genovese could not escape the long arm of the law. Vito Genovese, a man of power, ambition, and brutality, left a lasting mark on the world of organized crime. The legacy of Vito Genovese is one that continues to echo throughout the underworld. His strategies, his ruthlessness, his relentless pursuit of power. All these elements combine to shape the landscape of organized crime in ways that still resonate today. Genovese was not just a gangster. He was a strategist, a manipulator, an empire builder. His influence extended far beyond the streets of New York, reaching into the political and economic structures of the city and beyond. He turned the Mafia into a sophisticated organization, with a hierarchy and a code of conduct that, while brutal, brought a certain order and stability to the underworld. His reign, while marked by violence and fear, was also one of prosperity for the Genovese family. Under his leadership, the family grew in wealth and power, establishing a stronghold that would endure long after his demise. Even today, the Genovese family remains one of the most formidable and influential in the world of organized crime, a testament to the foundations laid by Vito Genovese. But Genovese's legacy is not just one of power and prosperity, it's also a story of downfall. His ambition, his greed, his lust for power, they all led to his downfall. His arrest and subsequent life sentence served as a stark reminder of the inevitable end that awaits those who choose to live outside the law. In the end, Genovese's story is not just about a man, but about an era. An era marked by the rise of organized crime, by the struggle for power and control, and by the harsh reality of a life lived in the shadows. Genovese's story serves as a chilling reminder of the allure of power and the inevitable downfall that follows.